Guess who's back? Back again. The Streets Never Forget podcast is back. Tell your friends. No, please do tell your friends. We're back. It's been a few months, but we're finally back, and we've got a real life EastEnder on today. You may have seen Shane Ritchie and Jessica Plummer tackling the I'm a Celebrity castle, but we've got a regular from West Ham Fan TV, one of the most recognisable characters in the world of fan media, Dom O'Connell. Welcome aboard.
How we doing? All right.
Excellent. Excellent. Great to have you on.
I'm a Southender, not an Eastender. I live in the Essex coast in Southend.
Okay.
Born there.
Would you call me Scouse?
You're not your. If I said I was going to be doing a podcast with the Scouse, I'd expect a lot more firmer accent. There's a guy I work with sometimes, and he is. I'll tell you what, he's probably more Scouse than Gerard and Carragher. That guy, he's proper Scouse. But no, the only time I've ever been to East London is obviously to see my beloved West Ham. But yeah, born and bred in Essex, Leigh-on-Sea in the borough of Southend. But yeah, looking forward to this podcast. Lots to talk about. Good news earlier this week about fans going back.
Absolutely, we'll get into that.
Times ahead for the first time in months.
Definitely. You could see where I was coming from, though, couldn't you, with the Sten connection? So you've told us you're from Essex. We're going to have a new quick section. The audience want to get to know more about you, so this is the getting to know you round. Are you ready for some questions?
Go ahead.
Okay, some easy ones to start off with. Tea or coffee?
Tea, all day of the week. I love tea.
What's your favourite brand of tea?
I don't really have a brand, to be honest. I'll tell you what, I just open up the tin, and if there's a tea bag, I use it.
Fair enough.
I don't know where it's come from. It could have come from the bin. It could have come from listen, mate, if it's tea, I'm all for it.
I'm quite specific. I'm all about Yorkshire tea.
Yeah, Yorkshire tea's good.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing is, my brother, he's so like careful of what he eats, and specifically, he's a workout guy, and he drinks specific tea. I think like herbal tea, green tea. I've tried some of that. It ain't for me. Just dip in the tin, get yourself a tea bag. Normal tea bag, bang.
It can be an issue abroad, can't it? Sometimes I know I don't want to sound like a proper Brexiteer, but when you go to like Germany or Spain or whatever, it's kind of hard, isn't it, to get a good cup of tea sometimes, I think.
Oh, well, you got to realise when you go to these countries, you're not in Britain. Other countries do, funnily enough, do things differently to us.
Yeah.
But milk in after, water in first. No, tea bag in first, obviously. Then comes the water, then comes the milk. Stir it up. Done. No sugar, I'm sweet enough.
Very good. Very smooth. Yeah, so the next one, I think from looking at your Instagram stories, I think I've got an idea what the answer's going to be. Cats or dogs?
Dogs. Come on. I've got two I've got a cat. Well, it's my sister's cat. But all dogs. I've got two now. One's a puppy, boy and a girl. Two yellow labs, and they're just my world. They're lovely.
Oh, lovely. Love that. Yeah, so at the time of recording, the pubs are currently shut in England. They're due to reopen next week. When you head back to the pub, what's your tipple? What's your favourite beer to have?
I don't drink beer.
You don't?
I drink. No, I don't like beer. I've never really clicked with beer. I mean, it's rare I can finish a pint of beer. I mean, I went to an FA Vase game with my mate in September, and I ordered a Thatcher's or something. I got given this like beer because the bar staff thought, oh, that's another sort of cider, and it was all right, to be fair. Like I think the only time I can really drink beer is in hot weather, because it just goes, and it feels much better. It feels easier to drink it, but most of the time I'm a Strongbow man.
Fair enough. No, I thought you'd be a beer drinker, to be honest. I don't drink myself.
I don't drink beer. I mean, I don't drink as much as I used to either. And then when I'm bored of Strongbow, I just get onto the vodkas.
Fair enough. Yeah, another question for you. Are you a fan of going to Nando's?
No, I've been to Nando's like 3 times in my life.
All
The
right.
first time I went to a Nando's, because obviously, like, you know, it's like a chicken version of McDonald's and
Yeah.
KFC, ain't it? Well, KFC is the chicken version of McDonald's, but you know what I mean. And
Yeah.
I went in there for the first time, and I sat there for about 25 minutes. I was like, why the fuck's no one come to serve me? And it was only until I realised there was people getting up and queuing. I thought, oh, this is self-service, is it? Oh, that's how much I know about Nando's. I kept hearing about it all the time. And I didn't actually, the first time I went to Nando's was like 2014.
Yeah.
And how long has Nando's been out for?
So it's always been a constant, I think, in my life.
It was a big trend. I've been like twice since. It don't appeal to me, Nando's. I just, you know.
I was going to ask you what level of spice you'd go for.
See, again,
Yeah.
I'll just go for like chicken and chips, and that'll do me, you know.
Yeah. All right, we'll scrap that one then. Okay, bit more football. Well, no, we'll go on to the music questions first. Oasis or the Stone Roses?
Oasis all day.
Oasis. Okay, fair enough. Queen or the
You're
Beatles?
probably Stone Roses lad, aren't you? Coming from Liverpool.
No, they're from Manchester. Stone Roses.
Are they? Who's one from Liverpool?
No, they've got a song called Mersey Paradise.
There's one from Liverpool as well, isn't there?
There's a few good indie bands. There's like
Shows how much I know. I mean, done it. Fucking hell. I thought the Stone Roses were from Liverpool.
No, you've got like the Wombats, Circa Waves.
Right, yeah.
Quite a few.
Yeah, you've got some good music up north. I'll give you that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's got
music and football.
Music or football.
Yeah, they're the things I think the Northwest is most renowned for.
Yeah.
Yes. So next question: Queen or the Beatles?
See, I'll probably say Queen.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like an era way before our time.
Yeah.
When I was in school, I actually took part in a Christmas production, "We Will Rock You."
Oh.
You know, the famous musical. I went to a media performing arts school. Not specifically, not a drama school, but it did specialise in that. And I took part in I was encouraged by everyone I took part in the Christmas production, "We Will Rock You." I played. I mean, I don't know if you've seen it or not, but like the plot is these like famous music stars get imprisoned on a planet and they lose their minds. So they can't remember their names. And I was playing Justin Timberlake and he forgot his name. It was Justin Trouser Snake.
Wow.
And yeah, and it's a good little part I played. But yeah, it was all like, you know, all the songs were played there, and whenever I hear a song from Queen now, it'll just take me back to when I was 13.
Not to put you on the spot, Dom, but at the end of the podcast, are you happy to perform a Justin Timberlake number?
No, I didn't actually sing. It was I just said a few lines. The real singers were like Galileo. Because Galileo was a real character, and Scaramouche, who were the two main characters. Killer Queen was the main villain. So it was cleverly made up from the Queen's songs made by in the lyrics, the characters, and every time I listen to Queen, it takes you back to them days when I was a shy 13-year-old talking on stage in front of a crowded school, all shitting my pants. Not literally, but
fair play. Yeah. So my next question, as we're sort of getting to the end of November now, Christmas is on the horizon. What's your favourite Christmas song and favourite Christmas film?
A favourite Christmas song. Let me get it up. I'm not going to play it, but I'm just going to because it's that time of year when I download a few to my playlist, and it's become it's "Merry Christmas, Everyone." I just like that song.
Is that the Shakin' Stevens one or the Slade?
Yeah. No. Slade's the everybody's having fun.
What is it?
The snow is falling all around me. One.
Oh yeah,
That's
yeah.
I like. Yeah. Yeah. It's just like it's proper Christmas, isn't it? Yeah. When you listen to it, it just feels like something's building up. You know.
Yeah, it's a good one. It's a good festive one.
What about? Well, I think it goes really well in soap Christmas trailers as well. You feel like you're like, well, when it comes on, I feel like I'm like in EastEnders or something coming up to a big storyline, like the villain of the storyline. It's pretty funny, to be honest.
Yeah, definitely. What's your favourite Christmas film or TV program?
My favourite Christmas. So I don't really watch Christmas films anymore. I used to love them as a kid. If I could watch one now, it'll probably be Home Alone 2.
Fair enough. I've not actually seen Home Alone, to be fair. I'm more about like Love Actually
I saw that the first one I saw. See, this is the thing with me, right? I see something and I watch it, and then I find out it's the second part of a sequel. So I've missed the first one. So I've got to go back and watch the first one, knowing what's happened in the second one. And it's like, oh, hang on. It's like The Walking Dead. I watched The Walking Dead. Walking Dead come up on Channel 5 years ago when it was in season 2, and I watched it. So this is really good, actually. Where's the next series? Oh, season 3. Oh, great. So there was a season before. So now I'm basically going to know what happens in season 1.
Yeah.
But
sometimes it's better not to go back and watch it though, because at least then you're sort of on track with the series and how it's going to progress.
There are characters I want to know about.
Yeah,
you keep hearing mentions of characters that get killed off, and it's like, right, I want to find out who these people are. When you see them, I'm like, oh, I like them, but they weren't in season 2. That means they're going to die.
Always the way, isn't it? Yeah. So more football questions now. Messi or Ronaldo?
Oh, fucking hell! It always changes. It always changes. Yeah. With me, it's such a. Oh God, it's such like a divided. I wouldn't say like divided as in like people hate each other. It's just, there's so many different opinions, and then you take into it. I think you got to take into so much here. So
yeah,
you got to look at Messi's Ballon d'Ors, Messi's technical skill as a player, Messi just in general, the goals he scored. But then you look at Ronaldo and you think, well, he's done the same. Yeah. Ronaldo, I think, is more of an attacking threat because of his aerial presence. Yeah. And he can play, they can both play anywhere, really.
He's so powerful, though, isn't he, Ronaldo?
Yeah, if you wanted someone to win a fight out of the two, I'd go for Ronaldo all day of the week. But
yeah,
then you've also got to consider, Ronaldo has done it in the 3 leagues. Mm-hmm. Now that's not to say Messi can't, but Messi's been so loyal to Barcelona. But I think we will find that out next year. I've no doubt he's going to leave Barcelona at the end of the season.
Yeah, I thought it was set with Ronald Koeman coming in. I thought he'd get off, to be honest.
See, I thought Ronald Koeman would be a good appointment, but it's just not worked out, has it? But I thought, see, when Messi goes, that Barcelona team's going to end up like AC Milan.
Yeah. I
saw a lineup of them playing a game the other day. They must have had so many injuries. There was no Messi. I think no one. I didn't recognise anyone. I think that they played like Braithwaite up front and stuff. The young kid, Ansu Fati. I mean, he's someone to look to for the future. He's got a bright future ahead of him. But is he going to replicate Messi? I don't know.
Yeah. That's near on impossible, isn't it?
They're on a decline already.
Yeah.
When Messi leaves, they're just going to plummet like United did when Fergie left, and like AC Milan have done over the last decade. But Ronaldo as well. When the 3 leagues he's done it in, he's also won at international level.
Yeah.
Euros in 2016 with Portugal. That was. I mean. He scored. You say people say he done, because he got injured in the final, he didn't do anything. But he scored a hat trick in the group stage to get him out of the group against Hungary. Or I mean, they were lucky. Obviously, it's expanding because they actually finished 3rd. Like they drew penalty in extra time. It was an awful tournament, and
yeah.
such a horrible team to win because I just hated the way they won it. Because I think they won one game after 90 minutes, and that was the semi-final. All the rest were draws and extra time and penalties. But at the end of the day, they won it, and Ronaldo was an inspiration. I mean, he was on that touchline. I think Ronaldo will go on to management in the future, and he'll be a great manager as well as a player. So, I mean, we could talk about this all day, but at the end of the day, we just got to appreciate both of them because we're never. The sad thing is they're coming to an end now, the pair of them. I think Ronaldo's now, 34, 35, Messi's 33, 34.
Yeah.
Now they've not got long left, and we'll never see two players this great ever again in a generation. Well, maybe not for years to come. Maybe Haaland and Mbappe if they improve. Maybe we'll see something similar to them, but similar is probably as far as it gets. You won't see any two players as good as them in the same era, and we're very fortunate to have that.
Absolutely, yeah. So more of a personal question for you now. What is your most and least favourite away grounds to go to?
Fucking hell.
Don't say Goodison.
No, I like Goodison.
Very good.
It's a proper. I like the old school grounds.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of, I mean, we could go on grounds, but I'm thinking like in terms of areas. I'll tell you one place I hate going to: Burnley.
I knew you were going to say that for some reason. Yeah.
Burnley, I'll tell you something. I mean, and this is no disrespect to the locals of Burnley. This is, but my God, it's like the end of the world up there. I think I've been to Burnley 4 times. I've seen us lose twice, draw once, and win once. And I mean, again, I like the ground. It's an old school ground. It's right slap bang in the middle of the streets, just like Goodison Park. And Anfield. It's how it should be. But it's just like that. And the locals know it's a dive. I just don't enjoy going there because, it's such a trek. It's so far away. It's so, it's like going back in time. I mean, last time we went, we got we got a train up there. So obviously we come from London Euston, change at Preston, and then have to get connecting train. The connecting train we get from Preston that goes around the houses, it's like a noddy train. This is out there, it's such a poor noddy train. They're not trains on noddy.
Yeah, I know, like an example of the trains you mean. It's like an old bus, isn't it?
They're tiny. They're tiny, and the seats are like, it's like going back in time. It's interesting. I mean, it's quite cool, but it's like fucking hell. Like going around the houses, you see all that. Like the houses are like. I mean, when I watched. Have you seen the film United? When about the drama about the Munich air disaster?
No, I think I've seen clips of it. It's David Tennant in it.
Yeah, like David Tennant, Jack O'Connell in it. The houses there in that film. See, that's set in the 50s. The houses in that film are the same as they are today around there. It's a poor area, but I like the ground. It's got a nice little cricket club next to it.
Yeah, that's the away pub, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, in terms of worst ground I've been to, I've got to. I'm just going to get out my little app here, and go through a list so I can just get them into my head. Yeah. I mean, you could argue I could probably say West Ham's ground.
Worst.
I mean,
what about Dom? What about your most favourite ground to go to?
Sorry, someone's just ringing. I'm going to decline that. My favourite ground, Villa Park.
Villa Park. Explain.
Villa Park or Anfield.
Sorry.
It's just I went. I like Anfield. I love Anfield.
Yeah.
I just think it's it's like Goodison. It's a proper ground. It's so well built. Again, slap bang in the middle of the community. I mean, we went up there. It was a couple. I mean, I've been to Anfield loads, but one year we went up there. We couldn't find anywhere to park, and a resident gave up her parking space for us. She was going out for the day, and she didn't park in my space. Didn't charge us anything. It was literally right around the corner from ground, so I had a touch. But no, I like Anfield. You've got the Arkles right next to it. Same as Everton, really, except you've got to walk across the park to get to Everton with the Arkles, whereas Anfield's just like literally outside to the right.
Yeah.
Villa Park for me though. We went there last season on the Monday night, last September, and it just reminded me so much of the Boleyn. Claret and blue, obviously, to start with. But it's a proper football ground, but it's so big as well. It's just, I love it. I love it. It's just, again, slap bang in the middle, pub round the corner, beautiful stadium as well. It's just such a wonderful stadium, great atmosphere. That's my favourite ground, Villa Park.
Yeah.
That's my favourite ground. Are you talking about Premier League only?
Or no, if you got any others, I'd be happy
or any ground. So I'm going through the list now.
As long as it's like a known ground, as long as it's not like
Brighton,
casuals.
A bit of a pain to get to, but it's an all right ground. Fulham, don't think much of. Crystal Palace, if you're right at the back, is the worst view.
Yeah, on your tiptoes, aren't you, all game? Even if you're not right at the back, even if you're kind of halfway up, it's
QPR's a dive. Stokes, all right. Middlesbrough's. In terms of areas, these places are awful, but the grounds are all right. I'll tell you what I'm going to say, and it's going to be a bit. No, I'll tell you what, Gillingham. I was going through my list, and that came up. It just came to me. Gillingham. Yeah. Have you ever been to Gillingham?
Never. What? Are you saying that's your most or least favourite ground?
No, least favourite.
Because of the away end being like.
Yeah. It's, and again, like if it rains, you're fucked.
Yeah.
Because there's no roof. It's like being back in the London Stadium because the away end's held up by scaffolding. And we were like, I think we played in the FA Cup at the start of the year, and me and my mate and me and my two mates were walking under the scaffolding, like, well, where the fuck do we go? We're just like stuck in a forest of scaffolding, and then you come out, and then you come out to the stands, and obviously it's an open stand held up by scaffolding. You go to the top of the lower tier, so got an upper and a lower tier, which you can literally just like swing your leg over, and you're in the upper tier. So just we're at the back. And everyone's just like coming up to where we are because they don't know where to go. Yeah. It's just, there's no direction, and we're crushed at the back. I need a piss at half time. So does my mate. My mate climbs over to the upper tier to get down the steps easier instead of pushing through everyone to go down the bottom and then come out.
Yeah.
And this steward goes mad at him. Like, if you do that again, you're out. And just fucking, oh yeah. Have you been there?
No, I've not been there. I've not been to many of the sort of lower league southern grounds, really.
Don't go there. Even if when fans are allowed back in, it's the first game back or something, the first away game back for Everton. Don't go there. It's a trek for you as well. It's only over the Dartford Bridge for me, and I'm there.
I think it's practically in France from where I'm coming from. But yeah, yes, you mentioned there the first game back. It's been. Who'd have thought at the start of the year that we'd go 9 months nearly without going to a professional game?
Yeah.
It was Friday the 13th of March. The Premier League was cancelled after Arsenal's manager Mikel Arteta being diagnosed with COVID-19. You were diagnosed yourself, Dom, early in the pandemic.
Yeah.
Talk us through that.
Well, nice to be honest. I was I went to work and I felt like, because at the time it was a loss of the taste and smell. So, but at the time, it wasn't a known symptom. So, and I thought, is it though? Because when you have a cold or the flu, you lose your smell and your taste, don't you? And this is a virus, which is a form of cold or flu, except it kills people. And I thought, because that week, right? I'll tell you what, right? That week was fucking horrible because you say Friday the 13th was when the Premier League got suspended. As Friday the 13th go, that was quite possibly the worst Friday the 13th ever because I was due to go on a stag do as well to Benidorm. My mate was meant to be married in May. and we were meant to be going to Benidorm on the 23rd of March, the day Boris sent us into lockdown. So by then it was out, you know, it was off. But the Friday the 13th, we were like, things were getting bad, and we were like we were all in the group chat, like on edge. I hope it don't get cancelled. That'd be all right. It's all in fucking Italy and that. But like, it was just getting so bad here as the days went on. And then what we didn't realise was it was bad in Spain too.
Yeah.
And it came out, Spain declares national emergency, all pubs, bars, restaurants shut. Oh, shit. And then it's come up in Benidorm saying if you got plans to Benidorm, don't come out here, everywhere's in lockdown. We're like, oh no, like I just hate thinking about it. It's just like it was so awful.
Dark time, wasn't it, for everyone, I think. But obviously for you especially having the virus.
I was meant to be off that week as well, and because we were in lockdown, I didn't want to waste my leave, so I cancelled it and came back to work. And then the start of next week, I didn't. I mean, I lost the smell and taste, but at the same time, I was like, well, it's not. I looked it up, I read through the symptoms, and it weren't there, so I thought I'd be all right. I did think something of it, but and then I woke up and felt fine. Yeah, all right. Went to work, and then like somebody said, "Oh, you look rough. You look rough. Go and get checked." So I went to see a doctor and took a temperature. My temperature was fine. Doctor said, you know, you can go back to work or you go home. And I'm like, well, what do I do? Like, if I've got symptoms, because the thing is, I actually didn't have a temperature at the time, a high temperature.
Yeah.
It was just the smell and taste. And at the time, there was no like testing. So, and then, you know, the doctor said, you know, it's up to you. And then a nurse said, "I'll go and self-isolate." I'm like, right, I'm going to go and self-isolate for a week. And I thought, fucking hell, this is going to be shit. You know, sitting indoors for 7 days. I thought it'd be 7 days. And then, I went home and then I just fell asleep, just out of nowhere. Don't even remember, just passed out, fell asleep. And I woke up about 5 hours later and I felt like shit. And I had a bit of a headache now. And that's a symptom. And I thought, shit, I probably got it. And just like I stayed in bed and I actually couldn't get out. I was like, I feel really weak here. So I went to, I was starving hungry, but I didn't want to eat anything because I couldn't taste anything. So I was like, well, it was really shit. And then, you know, I drank lots of tea. I was eating, I was having soup. I don't think I ate anything like soft, proper for like days.
Yeah.
And then the next day felt rough again. Couldn't really get out of bed. The only time I left my bedroom was to go to the toilet. And I started coughing a lot. I remember it was the Tuesday night I started coughing. I started coughing and I thought, yeah, this is just getting worse. And then by the time Wednesday morning come across, I woke up shaking. I mean, every morning when I had it, I woke up gasping for water all the time. And I just remember banging on the wall trying to get my brother because I couldn't get. I needed water. I couldn't get out of bed because I was so weak. I couldn't get my words out to call for him because I was so like I didn't have the energy to do anything. And I banged on the wall and, you know, I said to my brother, "Can you just get me a glass of water, please?" And he comes in and he says, "Oh, come on, Dom, you know, you just got to, like, you know, you've got to fight it." And then he took my look and he was like, "Actually, you look really bad. You look really rough." And I said, "Yeah." And then I sat up in bed and I looked down and I thought I pissed the bed. I thought I pissed my bed. My t-shirt, my bed shirt was dark with sweat. My bed sheets were completely soiled. Like I thought I pissed the bed, but because the temperature had come and got me, I'd been sweating so much during the night, and I was just like sat in bed. Like I looked at myself, and I was pale white. I was so like, oh my Christ, like fuck it. I thought, and then I started thinking like, shit, am I going to die here? am I going to die? Am I going to live? Like, fucking hell. Like, and then, you know, my mum's friends with a specialist nurse, and she rang her up and she gave some tips. Just don't lie down, sit up, drink hot water, drink hot drinks, not hot water, hot drinks, and it'll help. And funnily enough, the hot drink, like the tea and the soup probably helped so much. Like, I felt so much better a few hours later, like nothing had happened. And I was just like sat up all perky, you know, watching Netflix, and yeah, sat up, started walking about, felt all right, and then just got back into bed. Yeah, and then it weren't until the Sunday I came downstairs for the first time and felt better. But, you know, there's always the precautions of, you know, going back too early. So I said, look, I'm going to have another week off work. And by then I was better, and it was just dragged out. But yeah, it weren't nice. It was really.
How do you think you'd actually caught it, the coronavirus?
Just in contact with people. Yeah, just like. You know,
anywhere, any particular place in the
hospital,
pub or anything, or the supermarket, or
hospitals, mate, hospitals.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, it's definitely they're from there, no doubt. It was only a matter of time. When I was off work, loads of other people were off at the same time. So it was obviously like a little bubble of it going round, and I was unfortunate to be in that bubble, but at the time I wasn't actually confirmed. I just knew I had it because of how bad I felt.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until June I had an antibody test, and it came back as I had it. So just confirmed everything really. But it's shown that I'm like sort of immune to getting it again because I built up enough antibodies to get rid of it. I mean, thing is, like, I get somebody come to my door like once a month to swab me, and I've never had it positive. So yeah, once this vaccine's in place, we can all just fucking forget about it. Hopefully.
I hope so. Fingers crossed. Not to go too deep, but do you feel different after having it? After having that experience, you said you felt, you know, like your life was kind of in doubt during the, you know, the peak of it. Do you feel kind of different now after having that experience?
Not really.
No.
I just want things to go back to normal. I just want to forget about it. It's just been such a horrible year. It's been such a horrible time. I think back to this time last year, I'm thinking things were normal back then, and we just didn't know what was ahead of us. Like, this is like the calm before the storm, and, you know, it's like you can't really enjoy things when you know there's shit ahead of you.
Yeah.
And it's just like that. Like if we knew what was coming, I mean, it's just crazy, ain't it? It feels like such a long time ago now. I mean, you say the last Premier League match we all went to was 9 months ago. I'll tell you what, it feels like 900 years ago.
Just, you mentioned there the last match you went to, Arsenal away, wasn't it, for West Ham?
Yeah.
For me it was Chelsea with Everton. Did you think at any point during that weekend that would be it? Did you think at that point that the virus was going to take over?
No, honestly, I mean, I had so much to look forward to. I had my mate stag in Benidorm. We had Spurs away coming up. I had like 12 days off work. I was just there's so much to look forward to. And, you know, we're all like walking. We're in the pub for Arsenal, and we're watching the Liverpool-Bournemouth game. And that was when they come out and said no handshakes. And I thought, I remember seeing people in the Liverpool and wearing masks, and I thought, I thought this was just another swine flu, if I'm honest. I thought this is just another swine flu, you know, people just getting a bit worried because of the media. I think the media haven't helped at all during this pandemic. I think, you know, you get a lot of positive news come through about vaccines and lockdowns being lifted and restrictions being lifted. And then you get like fucking people like the Telegraph and saying, oh, people might not be able to see each other over Christmas, lockdowns getting extended. The next one will be, we're going to be back in lockdown when the crowds go back to stadiums. Like, just fuck off, really. Just fuck
Very
off.
conflicting, isn't it?
It is conflicting. That's the problem with it all. But that back in March, honestly, just thought. I mean, I saw. Obviously, I remember it outbreaking in China. Italy was bad at the time, but I just thought, we're not Italy, are we? We're going to be all right. And then, yeah, that was it. I mean, I just remember the days leading up to it. The next day, went to the pub with my dad and watched the Man United Man City game. And then, yeah, as that week went by, you just sort of heard like it was getting worse. And then when it comes to the Thursday, we're like, yeah, this is like, I think things are going to get cancelled. And, you know, Boris, it was the Thursday, Boris came out and said, just wash your hands, etc. And the Premier League said, all games are going to go ahead as normal, crowds are going to go. And we were like, right, there we go. To be honest with you, I thought this is going to be the last weekend. I said it's only going to be a matter of time. I thought, right, we'll get this weekend and then that'll be it. I think that, you know, something's going to happen after.
I think there was there an international break coming up?
Yes, there was.
I thought we'd maybe get to that point. There was 2 or 3 weeks before that. I thought we'd get to there and it had kind of either sort itself out or get worse, which obviously got worse.
If that international break went ahead then, it would have been, I'll tell you something.
Oh,
It's been bad during the last one. Loads of players have got it. But I was meant to go England v Italy during that international break because with like a group of mates, I was so gutted like we couldn't go to that as well. And yeah, just I thought, right, after this weekend that'll be it. But then Arteta test positive, and we were the last thing to play them. So like, well, our game's not going to go ahead now, is it? And then emergency Cobra meeting from the Premier League, and we're like, yeah, it's just they're going to cancel it, suspend it. And the inevitable came. I just thought, right, and I thought, to be honest with you, I thought, great. Now I'm going to have to piss about, you know, trying to sort time with work to go at the Spurs and Wolves game. I said, no doubt that's going to be midweek because I thought like they delayed it to like the 3rd of. They suspended it till the 3rd of April.
Yeah, 3 weeks, wasn't it? Yeah,
3 weeks. Looking back now, like really. And then
it's mad. I was just anxious about the whole thing, to be honest. Even the weekend before when I went to Chelsea, I remember thinking like I was on the tube heading back to Euston and thought this isn't good. You know, obviously the tube after head to Fulham Broadway after a Chelsea game, it's always rammed, isn't it?
Yeah,
ridiculously so. And it was that day as well. And I just thought
we didn't act quick enough. I think in the whole thing, everything's just been late. The wearing masks thing. I mean, why the hell did they make that a formality?
July, wasn't it?
What's the word I'm trying to get? Essential. Sorry.
Yeah.
Why the hell did they make that essential until like July?
I know.
So, I mean, I don't understand it. But yeah, I think the league got suspended. I went to Dulwich Hamlet v Hemel Hempstead in the National League South on the Saturday because I was going to go to a game on the Saturday anyway because we were meant to be playing on the Sunday. So, but there were loads of games getting called off, and like Dulwich Hamlet was like the only game, like the local game that went ahead. I think I saw a few familiar faces there. Just loads of people were there. But that was my last match of the 1920 season, and sorry, my dogs are playing.
Always time for a dog appearance on this podcast.
My last match of the 1920 season, it was horrible, and and then it was announced. Obviously, it will go to the 30th of April, and then just indefinitely. Then we should, just shit, wasn't it? Awful.
Absolutely. So moving on a few months now to sort of May, June kind of time, when it was announced that the Premier League would resume, but with no fans. How did you feel about that experience?
I was angry. I was so angry. I was absolutely furious because these games without the longer these games have gone on with empty stadiums, it just sad. I feel so sad like just watching it. Match of the day comes on now, and it's just like, you know, you've had a lot of classic matches this season. You know, you can watch your Villa and your Villa Liverpool 7-2s. You can watch our game against Spurs, the 3-3. You can watch like what was the other classic one? Liverpool Leeds, stuff like that. But they're in empty stadiums. No one's. It's not. It feels like it's not proper football because there's just no one there. Like football came back in June. Well, May actually, because the Bundesliga returned. That was actually the first like elite football to come back. And I remember everyone was like, you know, hyping that up. And I watched Dortmund v Schalke in an empty stadium. I just thought, this is shit. Like, how long's if this is going to go on for ages in empty stadiums? This is going to be shit. And I was just like, the trouble for me was the Premier League don't care about fans at all. And we know that. We know they don't give a shit about supporters. They gave a shit about supporters, you know, they wouldn't play these games behind closed doors. But to have it just blatantly thrown in our faces like that, because when we go back to what we talked about just now, about the suspension of the Premier League and them setting dates for like 3 weeks later, I mean, they didn't seem to really give a shit how serious this pandemic was. Like, they honestly thought they'd be able to play games 3 weeks, and then when that won't happen, they try it 3 weeks later, when like the world is absolutely on its fucking knees. All they spoke about, there was no like concerns for player safety. It was just like, we need to get these games done because of the TV money, because of Sky. It's just shitty. It was shitty, and I was just so angry seeing it come back. Premier League matches in June and July. No, it's not. It weren't for me. It weren't for me. Yeah. The height of the summer, we should have been watching England, Scotland. We should have been watching France, Germany. We should have been watching Portugal, Germany, and France. Like in the Euros, we should have been like, you know, embracing the closest major tournament we're going to get on home soil for a generation. We're watching fucking West Ham, Wolves, and Everton, Southampton in empty stadiums.
Yeah.
In fucking June and July. It was horrible. It was the
so
worst
weird.
season.
Yeah.
It was the worst season in Premier League history. That season was the worst season I've ever watched in Premier League history. Yeah. Even if you take out the fucking disruption of the coronavirus, it was awful. Everyone's standards, bar Liverpool, bar Wolves, bar Leicester, bar Sheffield United. There were 4 teams that would have been happy about that season.
Yeah, there's like Burnley and stuff, isn't there? But
that was the worst ever season. Mainly my issue with the VAR. Mainly because of the VAR. The birth of VAR that season was toxic. It was just, it's not got any better, to be honest. But you know, we've had one season of it, so we can sort of like, you know, in a horrible way, get used to it. But that season with the VAR, and you know, we were like, you know, we were awful as well. And then you had Sky just moving our fucking games all the time. Like, we had to go to Liverpool on a Monday night. We were on the way to Man City on a Sunday when it got postponed because of a storm. Had they kept that on the Saturday, it wouldn't have got postponed at all. And then again, they move it to like a Wednesday in such short notice. I had to miss the game, so I couldn't get the time off. This was during winter break, and they could have easily just done it on the weekend. But no, they wanted to do it on the Wednesday for TV money. Again, it's just such a shitty thing. And then before lockdown, Newcastle away was meant to be a Friday night. That's like a 6-hour drive there and back on a Friday.
You'd have to stay over, wouldn't you? But that's
I don't understand like the cost and the time. It's so difficult to arrange it around when you move it to midweek, because you've got to fork out extra if you want to. It's not like around the corner. It's not like a fucking London derby under the lights. It's on the other side of the country. Yeah. And it was just stuff like that which just made me hate that season. So in a way, you know, if it was going to be any season that was going to be disrupted by a pandemic, it was going to be that season. But it just made it 10 times worse. You just wanted to get rid of it. And you couldn't see the back of it until fucking 26th of July. And the games were empty crowds. I watched about 3 of our games. I watched the Newcastle game, I watched the Norwich game, and I watched the Aston Villa game, last game of the season. I couldn't watch the midweek ones because I was always working. and they didn't even really interest me anyway because I just couldn't. I just hate the empty stadiums. I hate the fact Premier League.
Has that been the same for the start of this season as well? As your interest level kind of dwindled?
Not particularly, not as much as it would in the summer because they're being played at normal times. Big Premier League football in June and July, no, not for me. I never ever want to see that happen again.
No.
Football for June and July is for international tournaments and pre-season, nothing else. That should never, ever, ever happen again. Scrap it next time, null and void it, do it the right way. Don't fucking, it's just Champions League.
Would you say that's your issue then? The fact that football was played in the summer rather than the fact that grounds were empty?
Grounds empty were, I mean, the reason grounds were empty because it was played in June and July. So that's yeah. I mean, it's it's the way you look at it, but like Champions League final at the end of August, FA Cup final on the 1st of August. That's when the Shield should have happened. The Shield, like at the end of the month. Arsenal won 2 trophies in 1 month because of fucking coronavirus delay. Shocking, fucking shocking. But I just never, ever, ever want to see anything like that happen again.
Yeah, fingers crossed. Yeah, fingers crossed it will never happen again. But just in terms of the behind closed doors games, over this period, I think I know what the answer is going to be, and it's probably the same fixture that I'd look at as well. Is there a game you wish you were in the stadium for?
Yeah, of course.
Which is
Newcastle at home.
Yeah.
I wanted to. Will wanted to be there. I think at Goal Sullivan Brady. No, of course it's that Spurs game, isn't it? Spurs. It's the thing is, I was saying to me to my mates like that away would have been half empty, and people probably just walked out. You can make the argument that these games wouldn't have happened, wouldn't have gone the way they would have with fans there, but you don't know that for sure. I mean, you take the Aston Villa Liverpool game for example. I mean, Aston Villa have got a good team this season. Barkley and Grealish have torn it up. Liverpool have had a lot of injuries this season.
Yeah.
Fans, they lost last night. And they're so in the Champions League, they're so used to having that Anfield atmosphere carry them through. And Atalanta are a good team.
Yeah, amazing.
And the media are portraying it as a shock upset. I don't think that's a shock. They got very well balanced. And they've got some excellent players like Gomez and Ilicic. But that Tottenham game would have been obviously the one 3-0 down with 8 minutes to go and pulling it back to 3-3. I mean, watching it in the pub was just like good enough. The thing is, when you get games like that and you want to like see other people's viewers, they're always at the stadiums. So you always want to see the limbs in the stadiums. Sadly, the best you're going to get is in pubs and on watch-alongs. So I went through watch-alongs. I loved the Spurs watch-alongs of it. I loved our ones of it. I loved.
So you had a good time making a few memes out of those. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just in terms of on the pitch, West Ham. When me and you last spoke in the summer, and I got the vibe that with West Ham fans, David Moyes wasn't really too popular. Currently, you sit 8th in the table, one of the form teams in the Premier League. Has that opinion changed? Is Moyes building something at West Ham now? Do you think?
I mean, you and I can both relate to David Moyes. I mean, he was with you for a year, was it 11 years?
Yeah.
So you know as much about David Moyes as I do. I watched a video came up on Twitter the other day, and it featured me and 2 of my mates who also do West Ham Fan TV. And we're talking about Pellegrini. We're talking about, this time last year we were in shit. It was just before the Chelsea game, but we just lost to Tottenham. The previous game was Roberto's nightmare at Burnley. We'd lost 3 games. We'd lost 5 out of the last 6, I think. And we have Roberto in goal, the worst goalkeeper of all time. And we went and beat Chelsea last season, so it was all like happy days after that. But in general, it was shit. Like times were shit. There was so much negative. I mean, there still is some negativity around the club, and there'll always be whilst Scholes, Sullivan, Brady are at the club, because the sad thing is, as well as we're doing right now, something will go wrong in the future because of them, and we're just braced for it. But at the moment, things are all, things are positive for once, which, if you told me this at the start of the season, it's ironic because at the start of last season, we were all talking about like, oh, fucking hell, like we're meant to be challenging, it's sort of like the other way around. So this season, if we were this season last season, it would be no surprise. If we were where we were last season this season, it would be no surprise. And I think that's testament to what a fantastic job David Moyes has done, because under Pellegrini towards the end was just awful. We weren't playing football. The players weren't playing for him. It weren't great when Moyes first came back. And again, some of it still ain't great with his... He lets himself down when it comes to substitutions. But when you compare it to a year ago, and there's so much unity in the squad, the players are actually trying. We've got a balanced team now, but the trouble is we're not high in depth. So if we lose, we've already lost Antonio to injury for the last month, but if we lose Rice or Souček in that midfield, then we're fucked.
Yeah.
Then we're fucked. Because though this is now the first time Mark Noble has been kept out of this team for this long, because Mark Noble himself has said you can't rely on him. And Rice and Souček have sort of made that midfield their own. And that you've only got those two in midfield and they handle it well all the time. So it shows how good they are in midfield. But if we lose one of them, it all goes to shit. Before we signed Souček last January, we were awful in midfield. We were losing every midfield battle. When Souček came in, you saw the difference. And then you saw the difference in creativity when Boeing signed, and he was assisting goals, scoring goals, and then obviously lockdown happened. We didn't see him again. I think lockdown helped us, to be honest. I mean, we lost the first two after lockdown, but then we only lost one more after that. We beat Chelsea, we drew at Man United, we won 4-0 away at Norwich. So we only lost 3 games after the restart, and we've only lost 3 games this season. So the thing is, when you actually think about it, since the restart in June, we've actually been on a decent run. We've got, we're hard to beat this season. Man City came to us. All of Man City's results at the London Stadium before this game on aggregate score was like 23-1 or something. I think 5-0, 4-0, 4-1, 4-0, 5-0 every fucking season. So we're braced for it, and we get a 1-1 draw, which was a fantastic result. We played so well, and we made it hard for them. They broke us down to obviously score, but we're a hard team to beat. We gave Liverpool a good game. We gave Arsenal a good game. The only game we played shit in was the Newcastle home game, and there was, that was expected because there was so much. We didn't have any new signings. Kufau, the right back's been a great signing. But where, I say I don't know if he's building something, but compared to last year, we're in a much better place. And I mean, I've got to eat humble pie here because I've got to say he is doing a fantastic job, and it's just what we need. I've always since we had Bilic, we had Moyes first time, and it weren't great. Pellegrini, it was all right first season. Then, when you lose that dressing room, there's no going back. So you need someone to come in and steady the ship. And that's what Moyes has done. But we're getting results. We're hard to beat, and we're winning. We're winning games. And let's just hope he can move us up the table. But I just don't think he has the ambition to do so. I think he's too cautious.
Do you think he's got, if he gets given, say, 3 to 5 years, I've like you said, I've seen what he's done at Everton. I grew up watching his teams there. Do you think he could propel West Ham into those European places? Because I know that's what the fans want.
Yeah, of course.
You've got that ambition of trophies, so on, and with the new stadium, you want to be in Europe.
That's why we left. That's the catalyst of wanting to challenge for these places because of the stadium move.
Mm-hmm.
Thing with Moyes is he's done it with. It was such a long time ago, but he's led you to an FA Cup final. He's led you to the Champions League, or albeit qualifying, but you finished in that top four. He's led you believably into the Europa League as well. The Europa League, was it quarterfinals against Fiorentina?
Yeah, last 16, I think. But yeah, that's more what I remember him for. We were like consistently 5th and 6th every season. I know now.
Yeah,
that was when it was like the top 4. Like it's now the top 6, isn't it? Finishing 5th or 6th or 7th or whatever. In the last sort of 5-6 years, he had that consistently. From where we were 10 years previously when he joined, it was more like a relegation battle team, wasn't it? But yeah, I think if West Ham give him time, I think personally, I think he could.
I mean,
do a good job.
I agree with you, and it was a long time ago. That's the only thing, but and football's changed from then. I mean, you said yourself back then it was the top 4. You've got 2 teams now. It's the top 6, and so it's a lot harder to go places these days. But it's just nice not to be involved in a relegation battle for once. I've no doubt we're going to be fine this season. Yeah. I mean, I was certain we'd be in a relegation battle, 100%, and we're nowhere near it. So, and it's just testament to what he's done. I mean, the board of, the owners are terrible. They've not backed him at all. We've signed 3 players and only one's getting in the team at the moment. So it just goes to show what a fantastic job Moyes has done, and long may it continue.
You mentioned there the owners, just because of the frosty relationship the fans have got with them and the Olympic Stadium. I know, well, the London Stadium as it's called. I know that's not, West Ham don't see it as their home, but after being absent from there for 9 months, are you feeling excited about going back?
Yeah. I'll be honest with you, because I've been to so many non-league games, it's become like a thing for me where I'm getting used to it.
Mm-hmm.
And I just love football. I like going to non-league because it's always a different team and it's a new ground. It's just that excitement of just getting stuff ticked off your list. But as for I mean, I do miss going to West Ham. I miss the meet-up. I miss meeting my friends. I miss, the joy of us scoring a goal. I mean, we've scored goals this season where I've been happy with, but it just don't compare to when you're in the stadium.
Yeah.
Even with a limit, with 4,000 people, it may not be the same, but at least you're there. You're there to watch it, and it's just going to be so restricted and so different. But I just think 4,000 people in the stadium is better than 0. It's just, it will make a difference for sure. It will cut out this fucking crowd noise on Sky. And I mean, that crowd noise is awful.
It's still going to be quite echoey, isn't it? Though, with 2,000 or 4,000 fans in whatever team, and especially in a ground like yours.
It'll be something. I mean, if you can keep an atmosphere going. I mean, we're being told by the papers that sorry, I've just got breaking news on the other side of the screen. But we're being told by the papers that we can't sing or shout or anything.
Yeah, I'm not sure how true that is. I've seen it on a lot of social media sites, and that I'm not sure how true it is, to be honest.
No, well,
but I'd take it with a pinch of salt, to be fair.
It depends on what tiers. So I've just got some news here. It affects both of us, actually. London and Liverpool are in tier 2.
That's fine. Happy with that.
So London, so that means you only get 2,000 people back at West Ham.
Yeah, I expect that, to be honest, because Liverpool City region was in tier 3 before.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a step up, isn't it?
Manchester, Hull, Newcastle, Birmingham, and Wolverhampton are all in tier 3.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, didn't expect that. I knew Leicester and places like that were
all in the middle. That's all I'm seeing so far from It's just going around on Twitter now. It just come up on the site on the corner of my laptop. Birmingham, Manchester tier. So yeah, it's at least
it'll be out there once this goes out. I think all that news will be.
Yeah, but I'm in Essex. I think I'm going to be tier 3, to be honest. So that's all right. I mean,
tier 3.
Yeah, before it's tier 1. Sorry.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, before lockdown, I was tier 1. It's weird because the council decided what tier we were going to be in, as opposed to the government. So in the surrounding area, you've got local areas like you've got places called Rochford and Rayleigh and Hockley, which are come under the borough of Southend. And I where I'm in Leigh-on-Sea, I'm under the same borough, but for some reason they're in tier 2 and I'm still in tier 1 because that's venturing out towards like so Basildon was tier 2. Basildon's a neighbouring town about 25 minutes away. And so pretty much everywhere else apart from in Essex, apart from me, was tier 2. And we've always been tier 1, even like when lockdown was announced. So I expect we'll still be tier 1 by the time the announcement happens.
There were still a lot of people in the Liverpool region saying like, "Oh, the government hate us. We're going to be in tier 3." But I'm glad that that's been adjusted.
I'm disappointed London's in tier 2 now because obviously you're only going to have 2,000 fans at the stadium now, and it's going to be even more harder to get a ticket. But selfish as it sounds, as long as I get a ticket, mate, I'm really fucking bothered.
How have West Ham announced how they're going to decide who goes for the
they just released an article full of shit, as they always do, stuff we already know. There was a story the other day that Gold and Sullivan don't want it to happen though.
Really?
They don't want people back in the stadium because it affects revenue, right? Even though the fact they've been playing in empty stadiums for the last 9 months. I'll tell you why they don't want us in that stadium, because they know what's coming.
Yeah.
They know they are lucky them stadiums have been empty for the last 9 months because of what they, the shit they've done. I think, honestly, the way they were in the transfer window, honestly, I genuinely think they went out and come out with all that bollocks because they knew they weren't going to get a backlash in the stadium because they'd be empty. And now that I said the other day, this is the beginning of the end of the pandemic. I firmly believe people going back into stadiums now, lockdown 2 ending, vaccine news coming out. This is the beginning of the end of the pandemic. I'm certain of it. And they know what's coming. No matter how well we're doing this season, nobody's forgotten about how much they hate them. Hammers United, there's a protest group called Hammers United. Hammers United are still, set on achieving what they want by getting them out of the club. No one's forgotten. They know, and they know that as well. They know what's coming, and they don't want people in the stadium because of that.
So are you expecting similar scenes to the time, when you played Burnley at home and people ran on the pitch? Was a similar protest like that likely to happen?
No. Because the stadium's not going to be full enough for that. But you're going to have protests either way.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think you're going to... Because we're doing well this season, I don't think people are going to go mad about... like they did at Burnley. It was only because we were on such a bad run and we didn't sign any players that people had enough of that Burnley game. Because I think when we went 1-0 down, that's when people started going mad. And then whilst people were protesting, went 2-0 down, then more people went rushing up and it was fucking chaos, and rightly so. And it was just a reflection of how bad the business had been over while we're losing this game. But I think whilst things are sweet on the pitch, I think there's going to be more positivity and not all the anger is going to be veered at them. However, they're still we still want them at the club, and people are still going to try and make this happen. So we're just because we're doing well, it don't mean we're GSB in all of a sudden. I'm firmly GSB out. I've been since 2016.
Fair enough. Just you mentioned there that whilst going to West Ham's been out of the question, you've been to a few non-league games. Which club in particular was your favourite?
I'll tell you what. Let me go. I've got to go through my list here on my app. I mean, there have been some fucking good games, I'll tell you. I mean, I've not seen a 0-0 in any of them. I've not seen a 0-0 since Aston Villa away last season. That was my last game that I went to that was goalless. I
went to Wimbledon against Ipswich in February. That was a terrible game.
What, over at Kings Meadow?
Yeah. Last time I got to go there.
That sounds like a shack. I mean, somebody said to me, putting on Twitter last night, what's the smallest ground you've been in? And I said, it's got to be Wimbledon. And I was, well, they don't play there anymore, do they? They've moved back to away.
Yeah.
But that away end, it was crammed in, like it was like a shed. There was only 600 of us, and we played them twice that season in the League Cup and the FA Cup, and had to go there twice. But my favourite ground, so this season is probably Averley. No, Tooting Beck all day. Tooting Beck. It's in South London.
Yeah, Tooting. Yeah.
They play. Oh God, what league do they play in? I think they play in like the 9th tier. It was an FA Vars game, and it was a draw. It was a great game, really good game. It was 2-2 and 2-1 on penalties. But both teams wanted it. Both teams just went for it. It was really. I called it because at the start of the game, the ball went out. The ball went out, and this there was two. They were playing Leeds Town of Kent. Never heard of them. Half these teams I've never heard of, but that's what makes it even more fun. And this guy was absolutely wasted. He went and got the ball, went to give it the keeper, and threw it in the other direction. Went, I'm in your head, keeper. I'm in your head. And all game, he's just abusing the keeper. Does not stop. Just hurling abuse. Stood beyond, you're shit. You're a wanker. And I said to him, mate, imagine this goes to penalties and the keeper saves a few penalties and mugs him off at the end. That's exactly what happened. Goes to penalties. Tooting keeper saves 2. And when Tooting scored the winning penalty, the keeper turns around to this guy who stood right at the front and starts going, come on, what you got to say now? Like, I called it from the start. So just what that idiot deserves, because he's fucking annoying. But the ground at Tooting was lovely. I mean, I
hope they sold humble pies at that ground for that fella.
No, they had a Jamaican menu. They had like jerk chicken. It was lovely. It was very cultural. But like, I was walking to the ground. I had to walk through this like brook. I mean, I thought, am I going to football or am I taking my dog out? Like, I could have taken my dog for a walk down there. And I came across at the top of the brook. You can actually see the stadium, and you could have actually watched the game from there.
Yeah.
So if Tooting ever find themselves in a situation where they have to play behind closed doors, you just go at the brook and watch the game from there, and you'll be absolutely fine. But no, go in the stadium, lovely stadium, terraces, old school, lovely. There Averley had a good little ground as well. That's in Essex, about 45 minutes from me, and FC Romania. I was a bit wary going to that game, I'll tell you.
Wait, FC Romania?
Yeah, they play in Cheshunt, which is near Loughton and Buckhurst. And they ground share of Cheshunt FC. It's a club made up by a Romanian immigrant.
Okay.
And the club is literally run, it's run by a group of Romanian people, and the fans, I mean, some of the fans are Romanian ultras. Like, this is the Isthmian League South Central Division. You got like Romanian ultras like it's West Ham v Astra all over again. Like, I was like, flashbacks, fucking hell.
Hopefully no rants from you at the end.
No, it was they lost 4-2. It was a cracking game. And yeah, I went just the day after the second lockdown was announced. I went over to an FA Trophy game, and the trophy, the FA Trophy and Vars games are so much better than because both teams just go for it. because obviously there's no replays this season. You know, you just got to go for it, and you know, both teams just love it. You see some proper good games in there. But I'll tell you a few funny ones as well. Like what I told you about that. Because obviously it's so much different down in that level. Some of them aren't professionals. Some of them, you know, you can just have a chat with. They just do it, you know, that they've got to go to work as normal people during the week. So, you know, it's not like it's not like they get paid mega millions. But I went to a game last month, Burnham Ramblers v Mayhem Baker. Burnham's in Essex. It's over the River Crouch, separating North and South Essex. So it's localish to me. And they're playing Mayhem Baker, which is in Dagenham. And an incident happened where the referee gave a free kick to Mayhem Baker. And, you know, the Burnham coaching staff and the Burnham players are going mad. And in the mixture, the Mayhem Baker keeper's come out to retrieve the ball. And for some reason, the Burnham coaching staff were just incensed by this. They said, keeper, fuck off, keeper. Go on, get back in your fucking goal, you shit. Get back. You don't see this at, like, Premier League games. Like, I'm like,
You did.
We're at the end of it. And all of a sudden, the Mayhem Baker chairman comes over. I mean, he just appeared out of nowhere. He comes over to the Burnham coaching staff and says, "Look, lads, look, there's no need to talk to him like that. He was only getting the ball. You know, why are you having a go at him? Why are you swearing at him? Why are you abusing him? You know, he's just coming to get the ball for a free kick." And the Burnham manager goes, "We called me a prick." And this guy in the crowd goes, "No, mate, that was me." And then the Mayhem Baker chairman goes, "Look, we can talk about this now. We can go outside the stadium. We can talk about this now." I'm like, fucking hell, that's like David Gold coming over to offer out Jose Mourinho. Like, you don't see that at elite level.
Look past him.
This is paid level, because I've paid to get in. It's come up on my little app, which I can check into. Like, and you see it, it's fucking just like throwback, ain't it? It's throwback. And then Burnham had a player sent off. Like, the referee just showed him a red card for, like, absolutely no reason. Like, what we thought. Well, ref, he sent him off. I call me a cunt.
Refrain from using that word on the podcast, please.
Sorry. You can blur that out. But no, it was it's just you get so many, like, funny moments down at that level. A lot of them, I've noticed something that they really hate the referees. Like, yeah. I mean, the referees at that level aren't great. But I tell you what, the players, I mean, in the Premier League, they get put in their place because, you know, they get, like, showed yellow cards. I'll tell you what, the referees, you know, they're on hiding to nothing refereeing at that level. If they make a decision, everyone's on them. I mean, I was in a few games recently. I've been, like, stood right next to the two dugouts, and the managers have been stood at the sideline saying, "This ref shit, he's out his depth. Like, what's he doing?" And they're all having, like, this, like, massive unity against the referee. I'm like, poor old ref's all on his own.
Yeah.
You know, both teams, when both teams hate you, you know, you've got nowhere to hide, really, have you? But admittedly, they're not
the worst position you could be in as a referee.
Sorry, what's that?
No, I said it's the worst position you could be in. Yeah. When both sides are giving you stick, especially at a small ground like that, it's going to be a.
Oh yeah, and the crowd as well. I mean, you get some, you know, you get crowds there as well. Obviously, those crowds have been, you know, exempt from COVID rules.
Yeah.
Those teams can't play without crowds. I still think it's criminal that the National League and the National Leagues North and South are going ahead behind closed doors. I don't think they can be considered elite level at all. With all due respect, that's non-league at the end of the day. No non-league game should be played without crowds. I think it's just a fucking joke.
I think the situation you had as well was clubs in the 7th tier, so tier 3 as they call it in non-league. Clubs like FC United in Manchester, for example, are, you know, big following. They are a lot bigger, and clubs like them at that level, they're a lot bigger than some of those teams in the National League and the National League South.
Yeah, that was made up by a group of Man United fans, weren't
That's right.
Yeah, I've seen them crop up a few times. They usually get into the FA Cup, didn't they? But they got knocked out by Doncaster. But again, it's such a shame because teams some of it don't make sense. The rules, because all the FA Cup was played behind closed doors, even non-elite games and non-elite grounds. I think one of my local teams, Canby Island, they're in the second round, and they're playing Monday night on BT, and no one can go.
Yeah,
it's cutting. There was, but the team they beat in the first round, Banbury United. I think Banbury United are in step 3, and Canby in step 4. So they're both considered non-elite. So therefore, had it not been for lockdown, I think before lockdown was announced, it said there was no crowds allowed there anyway.
Yeah,
which is just bollocks. Thing is, had they met in the FA Trophy, people could have gone.
I know.
It makes no sense. It makes no sense. Same can be said about ground shares. Bromley ground share with Cray Wanderers. I've been to that ground, Hayes Lane. They played each other in the pre-season, and Cray Wanderers would designate the home team, so crowds were allowed to attend. If Bromley were the home team, would have been behind closed doors. Same as Slough Town. Slough Town share with a few teams. One of my mates who I go to ground up in with, he goes to watch Slough Town, and he said to me, like, he's been back to the ground to watch other teams who ground share, but Slough Town, who are in the National League South, considered elite football, can't have anyone go. Yeah, makes no sense whatsoever.
Madness, isn't it? So looking ahead, after the government announcement earlier this week about limited fans are coming, hopefully a bright future ahead with the vaccine potentially coming in place in the new year. Is there any fixtures in particular? Any away games you're looking forward to? The rest of this,
I don't think there's going to be any away games for away supporters this season.
Okay, all right then. So any home games in particular?
If you're having a maximum of 4,000, and in our case 2,000 in the stadiums, I don't think there'll be any away games. Yeah, but if there was, it'll be Leeds for me. But that's in a few weeks, and that ain't going to happen. But I've not been to Leeds before, so Leeds would have been the one for me.
I'm the same. I'm really looking forward to Leeds, and it's on for us. It was on a Tuesday night.
When?
In February. So yeah, it's probably not going to happen. But
you can hope. If it was, I think you could look at away game. If the vaccine comes in place, you can maybe look at away games last few weeks of the season.
Yeah, I think so. I think April maybe. I don't know. I don't know. It's going to work with the vaccine.
That'd be great, considering where we were the previous April. So that 2 months of hell.
Yeah, awful. Anyway, thanks, Dom, for coming on today. Where can people find you on social media?
They can follow me on Twitter, but you're going to have to request to follow because I like to keep my account locked away these days, for personal reasons. Same as Instagram. I do have Facebook. I don't use Facebook to really interact. Facebook's more of a personal thing, but yeah, Twitter and Instagram's the one to follow me on if you want to get to know what I get up to football wise, especially.
Yeah, I'm sure my viewers will be flooding your requests, both of them. Yeah, thanks for coming on. Just a personal one for me. You can see that there's a moustache on my face. I've been pretending to be Freddie Mercury or Wilfred Owen for the last month or so. So I'll put my Movember link in the description below. If you're new around here, please like, comment, and subscribe. God bless. Okay.